This is Fritz. I'm glad again to be here behind this microphone to present you this new programming, and this is part of a continuation of those videos that we've produced before, and we know that they're going to be essential as the base that we're trying to put together for our future education. This morning we have another subject for you, which is domination. Domination is a very important subject, and we hope that you will pay attention to what we're going to cover in this, because this can definitely make some great changes in your life. Remember what we told you before. We encourage you to have a notebook and a pen ready just to take some notes, because don't trust it's not you don't trust your brain, but your brain is not made to retain all those things, even though they will be some of them will remain, but it's good to take notes. So when you write something, it's different. There is a special it's not a mystery, there is a special effect when you start writing. And one of those days we're going to have a special video explaining to you the difference between when you take note, the different kind of ways you can take note and so on. But let's get into our subject today, which is domination. One of the things that we use to start a subject every day is the Bible. Because the reason we use the Bible, because the Bible has everything in it that we need to move forward. And also, if you want to have like a base, if you want to have a great backup, if you want to have something which has a history of making it a success for all that follow it, we strongly recommend that you use your Bible, because it has everything on it that you need to succeed and to advance. To start our subject, we're going to go back again to the book of Genesis, and we're going to start Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and we're going to read it for you. And God said, "Let's make man to our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." I don't want to read that again, but one word that attracts and that stays, and that is sure to have attracted your imagination in that lecture is the word dominion. Dominion. This is the word that mostly, I would say, it's the key word of that of those sentences that we just read. Let man have dominion. Domination. Let man have dominion. Dominion. There is another word. There is another word, domination, that's also as almost the same. It's not the same meaning, but they come from the same root, the same Latin root, which is in Latin we have domus, we have domini, and those are words of power. Those are words of influence over someone, or influence over something. Or if you are the entity that's receiving that domination, you are in a state of being controlled. That means domination involves the power of one entity over another. Domination could also involve the power of one country over another. Domination could involve the control or the power of one thing over something else. For example, when you talk about domination, you are talking about ruling. You are talking about government. You're talking about sovereignty. You are talking about control. You are talking about command. You're talking about authority. And you are talking about dominion, dominance, mastery, supremacy, superiority, ascendancy. You are talking about a lot of power words here. Dominion is a very important word. And the fact that we use dominion, domination in these sentences that we are using right now, we're not trying to make it complicated. We're not trying to make it hard on you. All we're trying to do, we're trying to use this word domination and put it into you. Yes, you. We want you to start thinking about the word domination and dominion. Today we want to center on domination because somehow domination is most likely more easy for me to express. Remember the word domination. Domination, every one of us is subject either to domination or either you are the one that's giving it out. Every one of us, we have a certain influence over something. It doesn't matter what it is, but you do dominate over something. For example, if you are a parent, you have some domination over your children. This is very simple. If you have a business and you are the principal of that business, you have domination over your business. If, for example, you are the head of a household, which one? This is tax term basically, but if you are the head of your household, you have domination over your household. If you own some properties, you have domination over those properties. That means domination means control. You controlling something. You have power over something. You have dominion over something. You have dominance over something. And you have mastery over something. For example, the word mastery, for example, you see master. For example, there was a time in the world where human beings were subject to slavery. And if somebody owned slaves, for example, they used to call him the master of those slaves. Fortunately, in the last 100 years, they say that they have done over with slavery and that slavery is no more. But mastering something is owning that thing. You own it. That's mean you have control of it. You can transform it. You can do something with it. And in the verse that we read in Genesis 1:26, after God created human, He gave him domination over everything that's on this earth, the living and the non-living. So we have the power to transform, to control, to dominate, to have supremacy over all those things and to change them and to transform them. But somehow, during our history, that's mean during I don't want to use the term evolution, during the history of human on this earth, something either went wrong or something, or man itself forgot the order or the suggestion that we received from God. If we receive an order to dominate, this means that wherever you are, wherever I am, we are supposed to have complete control of the environment that we are subject to. We are supposed to have complete control all those things that surround us. However, when you look at it, it's not always that way. What happened? One of the things I believe that most of us, or most of you that are listening to this, no matter where you are, in a developed country or in a what they call underdeveloped country, we are all subject to some kind of domination. And that domination make you subject to something else. You are subject to something else. I am subject to something else. And we are all subject to something else. You never thought about it that way, did you? The reason we don't think about it, that's because we are accustomed to the environment we live in. We wake up every day, we look at left, we look right, we look forward, and we have those habits that have been developed from the time we are a child to the time that you become a grown-up. That's been for the stage that you are in right now. The reason we don't pay attention to those words and to those things that we are subject to every day is because for some reason they not become important in our lives. So we end up every day doing the same thing over and over and over and over until the day that we leave this earth. There is a difference too. Some of the most successful people on this earth, at one point in their life, they recognize this situation and they decide to change it. Remember, I said they decide to change it. Yes, they decide to change it. They decide not to remain in this passive stage that they were in before, to create an active and different stage, to create an active and different environment. They decide to change their masters. They decide to change their status from being subject to becoming independent, to become real successful individuals in whatever they do on this life. Today is your time also, if you want, to start thinking about your position, your situation, and what kind of influence domination is having on you. You are a creature, you were created to dominate. Most of the time, they say we are there to serve. Yes, we are there to serve. But while we are serving, we can also dominate. We are not exactly supposed to only be the subject of something else. When we use the term subject to, that means subject to mean we are accountable to something else. We are in obedience to something else. We have to obey to something else. It's not that you are the slave to that something, but you are subject to it. That thing, whatever it is, it's the one somehow that's controlling your day-to-day activities. That something is the one that controls the way you think, the way you live, the way you dress, the way you do most of the things you do in your life. Definitely, we are all going to be subject to some stuff. Basically, we're going to be subject to the authorities, we're going to be subject to the laws, we're going to be subject to the principles that are established in society. Not all of them, of course, but some of them. But today we don't want to discuss the domination of government, the domination of those other things that are around us, even though they're supposed to be subject to us. Because if we go into the government principles, for example, in a democracy, as a member of that democracy supposed to be subject to the vote or to the action of the people. Even when they are dominating over us, we give them that right to dominate over us, except if you're living in a totalitarian country where you have no control over the government, you have no control over who is elected, who is in power. That's what the subject we're discussing today. Today, we want to discuss with you, your environment, and the future, your future, how you can use that simple, it's not a simple thing. This is one of the most important things that you were ever given to. This is not an easy subject. This subject is very complicated, but we can make it simple. And one of the main ways to make a subject simple is to go with an example. You have a child. This is your child. This is your son, or this is your daughter. They are subject to you. Basically, they were born. You give them birth, and they live in your house. You send them to school. They are studying, and one of the main one of the main thing as parents that we think of is we want those children to be better than us, to achieve their dream, and to become leaders in this society. But when we have those dreams for those children, what do we do for them? The first thing we do, we send them to school to get an education, to learn a profession, and to become successful in life someday. But at one point of their life, those children, they need to make a decision for themselves of who they want to become. Some of them will be successful. You cannot hope that all the children in this world will become successful people. Definitely you're going to have some that succeed and some that are going to fail. The same way I'm speaking about dominance today, the same way the children think about their future, the same way you send them to school to become something someday, that's because you want to remove them from certain domination, from a certain way of thinking, from a certain way of being subject to the same thing that you were subject to when you were growing up. You want to make a change in their lives. Today, you too, you are subject to the same thing. You can do the same thing in your life today. And doing the same thing in your life is related to the first subject, for example, that we discussed in one of our previous videos. If you didn't have an opportunity to look at that video, I urge you to go back at it. This was the video where we spoke about the ideas. One of the main ways to get off domination is for you to start thinking, is for you to start using your brain, is for you to start putting certain ideas together, is for you to start implementing those ideas and change your life and the way you see things around. Trust me, the day you start understanding what domination is, the very same day, the very same week, the very same month that you start understanding what domination is, you are going to think another way. You are going to believe another way. And you are going to react another way. And you're going to start to dominate over a few things that were always under your domination, but that you also never took advantage of. Domination is everywhere. Domination is in relationship. Domination is in the school that your kids go to. Domination is in your church. Domination is everywhere. I got a question for you today. What do you yourself, yes you, what do you dominate upon? Are you subject to dominations all your life? Or did you at any point of your life thought about being the master instead of the slave? I'm not telling you to go and start a revolt somewhere. No. This is not about revolting. This is not about raising yourself up against something. This is about you yourself thinking about, why am I here? What's the reason I was put on this earth? And what's the purpose of me? Why is it that some people are in a certain position and me, I am not? What is the solution and how to get out of there? You have a pet in your house. A lot of people have pets. They have dogs, they have cats, they have all kinds of pets. Those pets are subjects to you. You feed them, you give them what they need every day in order to live. You walk them around, and so on. You did all of those for those pets. Guess what? Do those pets have a choice? No. We call them pets. We say they are intelligent. I was reading an article in Time magazines about domestication, animal domestication. So they took a reference to the same passage that we read earlier in the Bible, and they tried to blame God for human domesticating dog, for example. And they say that, oh, God give us the right to dominate over the fish, over the animals of this earth, and that's the reason, okay, whatever. But this is not what's important today. What's important today is that, would you like yourself, just you, to be like, I don't want to offend anyone. We are all under domination. If you are under domination, I will like the same dogs that is attached to a leash and that somebody is pulling them left, right, forward, back. Hey, sit, stay, still, jump. They're just giving you orders. We are reaching a very good point in this subject here. What kind of domination is over you? Listen, I don't think you thought about this before. Domination is all over us. Domination is all over you. Domination is all over me. But somehow, somewhere, and at some time, before you go 10 feet under, wouldn't be it a good idea for you to think about changing that situation? When I say changing that situation, that's mean when you start taking control of your daily life, of your activities, of your household, of the way you think, and how you can evolve in a different way. You need to start taming. You need to start erasing. You need to start pushing apart some aspects of domination. Naturally, It's not that you forgot about the word domination, because you too, you are dominating over something else. What I want you to get from this is to start doing a separation between the different subjects of domination. First of all, we told you that domination is come from the Latin domus. For example, there is a word domestic. 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 Everything domestic, that means this is in relation to home. Anything public is in relation to the public. That means to what concerns everybody else. But in domination, you have, as I told you before, we have many types of discussions. For example, in international affairs, in politics, in economics. It doesn't matter where and what subject you are thinking about. Domination is part of it. Domestic domination, international domination, political domination, economic domination, social domination. They are all around us. But those are on a level that is higher than what we are discussing now. We want you to focus on your level of the type of dominations that are surrounding you, and that instead of them controlling you, you want to take control of them, or you want to minimize their influence, for you want to take some control so you too can dominate, because this is the order that you receive from God. This is the order that you received when you were born. When you were born with nothing in your hand. And trust me, now it doesn't matter who you are, you own something. You own something that you dominate. I don't care if it's the shoes that you put on your feet. I don't care if it's the comb that you use to comb your hair. You dominate over those things, and those things are material. Some people, you have a lot of money, that you dominate over that money. And sometimes it's not you that dominate over the money, it's the money that dominate over you. Some of you, you have your intelligence, you have knowledge, you have a lot of things that are sleeping in you. But instead of you taking control of them to dominate, you let them dominate you. It's like one of the subject of domination, for example, is I would say there is psychological effect anyway, because most people use it to believe they are in a state of domination, but in reality that they are not. Somebody, for example, they got some very high degree. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a lawyer. I am a high power attorney. I'm a neurosurgeon. I'm a dentist. I'm whatever title, whatever things that you have accomplished in life. These things dominate you so much that it's not even useful anymore, because you believe in the power, but are you using it efficiently to dominate? Some of you, you don't have anything. Because you don't have anything, so you let that sense that you don't own anything, that sense that you don't have any power in your hand, crushing you down. And that class of people, if you are one of those people that believe that you have nothing and that everything should dominate over you, you are the people that I want to speak most with today. No matter what situation you are in, no matter who you are, no matter who you are looking at, no matter who your neighbor is, no matter who you are looking on television, No matter who is your boss, no matter who is controlling you, you too have the power to dominate. If only you use the tools that are at your disposal. And the first tool you have at your disposal is yourself. You need to start to make an inventory of all the assets that you own right now. Maybe you say, I don't have anything. Trust me, you have something. And one day we're going to have one of those little talk, and we're going to let you see how much you have in your hand. The most important thing you have in your hand is your capacity, is your ability to think. Once this ability is put to proper use, once you put that ability in the proper environment that it's supposed to be, the subject of domination will start making you a different person. Today, this subject of domination is so vast, is so complicated, is so enormous, it will take me days to get every aspect of it. But I want to make it simple for you. Today you have an opportunity right now, and that opportunity is to get off the stage, whatever stage it could be you are in, to move to a new status. And this new status doesn't depend on how much money you have. It doesn't depend on how much knowledge you have. It doesn't depend on how much influence you have. It doesn't matter of how many acres of land you own. It doesn't matter what it is that you think that is crushing you down. You have the capacity to overcome it. You can overcome it by just taking control of your situation now and says, let me find something to dominate upon. When I says let me find something to dominate upon, some of you may think, let me find something just to be the master of it, to crush of it. This is not you being master over something. Is you creating something that you can use in order to start influencing others. And when you influence those others, then not only they help you become higher, create a higher stage in your life, but also while you are creating that higher stage in your life, you are offering something useful to those people. This is the last point that we're going to discuss today. Domination doesn't mean that you become like a prosecutor. Domination doesn't mean you become an offensive person. Domination doesn't mean you become an abuser. Domination, the kind of domination we are talking today is a positive domination. The positive domination is when you have something good in you. You have some abilities in you that you didn't know ever existed. And you start using those skills. You start using those special abilities that you have in order to offer a service, in order to create a new business, in order to create a new kind of enterprise, maybe that doesn't even exist yet, in order to serve the people that are next to you. In our world today, there are so many opportunities around that you don't need to scramble to find a niche, to find an environment to dominate. That domination is available to every one of you, no matter where you are. Whether you are in Africa, whether you are in the Caribbean, whether in North America, South Asia, Europe, no matter where you are, there is a subject on which you can excel today. And that environment is just waiting for you if you start acting up. Do you still have your notebook and your pen? I told you those were the most important tool that you have in your life. When you were born of your mother, you came on this life for a purpose. You came on this earth because God had a plan for you. Somewhere, somehow, at a certain age of your life, either by neglect, either by ignorance, either by some bad influence, you lost. Maybe you thought you lost that opportunity, or you thought you missed that chance to succeed. It's not a chance. I don't like the word chance. You missed that opportunity to succeed. Today, I want to let you know that this opportunity is still there if you are willing to give it another try. On your notebook today, I want you to start writing again. I want you to look at the world around you, to look at your neighborhood, to look at your city, to look at your state, to look at your country, to look at the world, and find a list of people that are dominating. Find a subject of domination. Find a subject of domination that is related to you. Find a subject of domination that you think about all the time, but that you really never concentrate on. If you cannot find one of those subjects, I suggest that you go and look at all the enterprises, all the businesses, all the services that are being offered, either in your town, in your city, in your state, and see which one would most likely be compatible to the kind of domination that is crossing your mind on a daily basis. Remember, you too have the capacity to dominate. You just didn't influence that part. You just didn't choose to make that part a reality in your life. Instead, you choose to stay under the domination of someone, under the domination of a company, under the domination of some other entities that's controlling the everyday part of your life. Domination is very important. Dominion, mastery. One of the goals that we have is for you to stop being subject to those things that's keeping you from moving forward. It's a complicated subject. It's not a subject that we think about every day. You accept a lot of stuff that comes to you. Are they normal? Is it the way they're supposed to be? One of the aspects of human being, of all of us, is that we are always expecting something expecting a raise from my supervisor, from my boss, from my manager, expecting somebody to do something for me, expecting some money from someone. Is that we are always dependent. That dependency that we have created every day is the antidote of domination. Because if you are subject to, if you're dependent on, if you are every day, if your life depends on it, do you have a way out? No, because you become like a drug addict.
A lot of time we talk about a drug addict is somebody who's just taking drugs and they cannot get out of it. Oh man, the drugs making them addicting. But most of us are addicted. We are addicted to be slave of something. I don't know what kind of master you have in your life today. But you are slave of something. There is something that you are serving. There is something that's taking your resources away. Something that is eating you alive. Something that you think that you cannot get rid of. Something that you say, hey, what can I do? You like in a resignation state. You just say, okay, there is nothing I can do about it, so what can I do? I just stay there, and that's the way everybody is. That's another thing. Oh, everybody's doing it. Everybody's the same. What do you think I can change it? My friend, I just want to wake you up today. I want you to know that when you were born with excellency. You were born with grace. You were born with a goal in your future. You were born with a great destination. You were born with a great mind. You were born with a great machine, with a great way of thinking. You still have the ability to get back on track. Maybe you chose the wrong road. Maybe you were following the wrong person. It's time to be yourself. It's time to wake up. It's time to say, me too, I can dominate over something. Me too can create my little environment where I can become new. I can become special. And I can become a better one, the one that I was supposed to be. I want you to repeat that word after I finish this today. I need to dominate. I need to succeed. I need to advance. I need to master something. I need to be successful. I need to be a new me. And I want to eliminate some of the masters I am now subject to, and create some dominance over some other thing that I want to dominate upon. I know this subject is complicated. I know it makes you think. Even me that is explaining to you, it's not very hard, but it's difficult to translate to you. I'm going to leave you now. We're going to come back to this subject. But remember, you too can dominate. And you too can be whatever you were supposed to be. And don't stop until you reach your true purpose. The purpose that God puts in you. The purpose that God sends you on this earth to realize. Have a great day. May God bless you. Thank you.